Look out, ACC. Manny Diaz is back, and he should be better. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. We break down the game we all love each and every day with you. Best discussion, debate, and analysis based on your participation. Manny Diaz is back as a head coach. He's back in the ACC, and his Duke Blue Devils may be a force to be reckoned with. Manny Diaz, of course, should have cut his teeth as a head coach at Temple. He had that job for about 2 weeks, and then he was lured away, and understandably so, by Miami. He took that job, and again, while he should have been learning on the job at a group of 5 low-pressure job at Temple, he was at Miami producing marginal football teams that went 6-7, 8-3, and 7-5. So let go after 21-15. Basically, not a deplorable job turned in by Manny Diaz, but certainly not up to the standards of what Miami is expecting. It is certainly on par with what has been the performance at Miami in the last 20 years, but not what they expect. And Manny Diaz oft criticized concerning his handling of players. It's one thing to be a player's coach, but to be manhandled by the players and to be too soft and let the players rule the locker room is another deal. Hopefully he has learned at Penn State. He's in a great position to have learned under James Franklin. And say what you will about James Franklin not winning big games against elite competition. However, it's still a top-flight program in college football. It's still a top 10 program in college football, and Manny Diaz should have learned quite a bit from James Franklin and the structure, the approach, and everything that goes on in Happy Valley. And, oh, by the way, nobody ever questioned Manny Diaz's ability to scheme a defense, build a defense, and develop a defense. Certainly had a ton of talent to work with at Penn State, but he was, again, responsible for the recruitment and signing of much of that talent, and he put it together as one of the best defenses in the country and statistically the best defense in the country. So Manny Diaz, with all that knowledge stored up and what he should have experienced and soaked up at Penn State, he comes to Duke, and he brings a quarterback with him for 2024. Maalik Murphy. I would not have thought Maalik Murphy was headed to Duke. I would not have thought that. But Manny Diaz was able to outmaneuver a number of programs, including Oregon State and Baylor, for the services of Maalik Murphy, a physical specimen, a freak, a monster, big, sturdy, sized quarterback with a huge cannon arm. He's inexperienced, of course, but again, he's a willing runner, although he did not run the football in his brief stint with Texas, where he filled in for Quinn Ewers when Ewers went down this season. 3 touchdowns and 3 picks as he played against Kansas State and BYU. But he has got a rocket arm. Maalik Murphy looking for an opportunity to prove himself and show what he can do. He has had to wait behind Quinn Ewers and now probably Arch Manning. Grayson Loftus, we got to see him play today in the Birmingham Bowl and win the game against Troy 17-10. Grayson Loftus thrown into a situation following the injury to Riley Leonard, who, of course, has since departed to Notre Dame. Grayson Loftus turned in some nice efforts against the likes of Virginia Tech, Pitt, and also North Carolina, in putting up 45 points against the Tar Heels, and led the victory today. 8 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, and the freshman will get a shot to compete with Murphy for the starting job. And also Henry Belvin, who relieved Leonard in that difficult situation against that tough Florida State defense, will also be in the mix in 2024. We know about the foundation that Mike Elko built at Duke. Can Manny Diaz capitalize upon what has been built there for him and the culture in the locker room, the culture in the program? Because Mike Elko did a A-plus job. He took over a program that went 3-17 the 2 previous seasons against Power 5 opponents, 1-17 against the ACC. And with the players that he inherited from David Cutcliffe, Mike Elko was remarkable. Turned that situation around to 9-4 with a bowl victory with no 2-score losses in that first season of 2022. So all close games, all close losses. came with basically within a penalty of defeating North Carolina to get to the ACC championship game, then who knows? Maybe he came within an injury of getting to an ACC championship game in 2023. Riley Leonard led a 5-0 start. They came within one play of defeating Notre Dame. And then, of course, he went down against Florida State. And at that point, Duke was in the lead. That's how good Mike Elko is. Can Manny Diaz be that good? I don't know. And I'm guessing probably not. But he should have learned again at Penn State. And he's got a good situation. Although he's going to have to deal with a lot of transfer portal losses. 11 of them, including top running back Jordan Waters, who goes to NC State and takes his 1,600-plus yards career and 24 touchdowns with him. R.J. Oben, the edge rusher, goes to Notre Dame. You see his numbers there as well as Aeneas Peebles to Virginia Tech. Peebles came up with two of the biggest plays in the win against Troy today with a pressure on the quarterback that forced a stop in the first quarter when Troy was in the red zone. And then also he forced the interception to Jeremiah Lewis that closed out the win as Duke won its fifth consecutive bowl game. Jalen Stinson's in the transfer portal. The safety racked up 82 tackles and 209 in his career. Dorian Mossy, we saw him play. And really the culture left by Elko here is most of these players that are in the transfer portal and moving on and have already chosen their new schools played in today's win against Troy. And there you see the production from Dorian Mossy and the departed Dwayne Carter, who will be selected most likely in the NFL draft. We know about the challenges of recruiting at Duke because of the size of the school and the academic standards. They will never bring in top classes. Manny Diaz has been a fine recruiter. He closed out Mike Elko's efforts in 2024 in a class that finished number 57 in college football. Elko's two classes were right in that same range, high 50s, low 60s in terms of recruiting. Again, that is not going to be the Duke standard looking at stars and rankings. It's about player development. The 2024 schedule in the new look ACC includes a home date against SMU and what has become a out-of-conference rivalry of nerds as Duke goes to Northwestern to take on the Wildcats, a series the Blue Devils have dominated, and they go to Northwestern on September 7th. Two of the main contributors to today's win against Troy, Jeremiah Lewis and Chandler Rivers, will be back. They combined for over 100 tackles, and one was the game MVP, and the other one picked off the pass that sealed the victory. Duke football. Open your eyes, be aware, recognize the Dukies in 2024, and let's see what Manny Diaz does with his second opportunity with a Power 5 program and back in the ACC. Your comments below right here at the Voice of College Football.